It was in the headlines recently. A Minnesota woman accused of giving customers black market Botox. And med spas only growing in popularity. So we're curious, how can you tell if your chosen spa and the team there are doing things safely and correctly?
Well, Dr. Deepa Pai from Petal and Stem is here to help us better understand the whole process. And welcome, Dr. Pai. We want to talk about your clinic in a little bit, but let's talk about these med spas because they seem to be growing in popularity, and we talked a bit about this, but there's very little regulation.
Absolutely. The regulations really need to change. I mean, starting off with the medical director, we are required in Minnesota to have a medical director on paper, but they're not required to actually be in your clinic. So you can have someone on paper, but how often are they coming in? You know, we need someone on site to make sure the protocols are appropriate, that things are safe. And if something goes wrong, you want someone there to be able to handle it.
Yeah, we're glad we have you here because we want to know what questions to ask before choosing a provider or committing to a procedure.
So your provider needs to have credentials, and it needs to be in a medical practice. So your credentials to ask for, are you at least a registered nurse or higher? So nurse practitioner, physician assistant, MD or DO. So those credentials are a must. If the same person is doing your hair than doing your Botox injections, I suggest going somewhere else. So we have to have someone that is credentialed. So that's number one. Is a medical director on site is number two. How do you manage your complications? If something happens, what is the next step? Can you handle that? Because there are serious complications. I mean, we are a real medical specialty, and unfortunately, when we don't have regulations, we are not treated as such.
Well, what about products, though? You were talking.
Yeah,
products,
so
is that another thing we should be asking
absolutely.
about?
So there are counterfeit products. So that Prior Lake incident, they were using black market Botox, as you mentioned. So how do you know if it's actually legitimate? So you can ask to see the product. So whenever I have a client, I will show them what I'm using. And a provider should not be offended by that question to say, hey, can I see what you're using? Because like for example, Botox will have a QR code on the bottle itself that you can scan with your phone, and it takes you to a site that tells you that it's actually a real product. So I will show people what I'm putting into their face. I'll show them the box. I'll encourage them to take a photo of it and to make sure, you know, let's look at the lot number, expiration date, so they have that information and they know what they're getting.
Is there technology or any safety measures that can help avoid complications to look for?
Absolutely. So this is the reason why I started Petal and Stem, is to really elevate the industry practice. So ultrasound imaging, which is the same kind of imaging people get when they're pregnant. So it's gel, it's a probe, you look at all of the layers, because the basis for injections is anatomy. So if we can visualize all of the layers, why would you not?
Okay, so you're using like an ultrasound machine on people's faces to see
Absolutely.
where to inject? Is that what you're doing? And you said that it's unusual. Not many people are doing this right now.
Yeah, some people around the country are, but it's mostly on the coast. There's a few clinics that have it, but we have a hospital. We're the only clinic to have a hospital-grade machine because you need that resolution to look at all of the layers. You know, when I do an injection, I look at the vessels, I look at your muscles, ligaments, where's the bone in relation to where I'm going. So I'm looking at all of your layers so I know that it's safe.
What is your background? And I know you have Petal and Stem, though. Can you tell us more about your clinic and what you do there in your background?
Yeah, I started off as a board-certified radiologist 20 years ago. So I spent years in training doing that and spent about 10 years at Children's in Minnesota, and currently I'm actually a professor at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, also practicing radiology with residents. So I love teaching, so I'm busy.
So start a business while you're at it.
But I really wanted to elevate the industry by bringing in ultrasound into our space because I think it's very much needed.
Do you think it's something that's going to probably be elevated and all these businesses will be using ultrasound? It sounds like that's a safety precaution.
I think we have to.
Yeah.
I think it's more of when are we going to do that, you know? And I'm happy to help people get there. You don't have to be a radiologist to know how to do this. There's very specific questions that you need to ask when you're doing a procedure, and anyone can learn it with practice. I mean, I really would love to offer that teaching and guidance so we can elevate our industry together.
Yeah, it's an important conversation. Where can we find Petal and Stem?
We're in Woodbury, Minnesota.
Okay, and do you have a website, social media, all that?
All of that, yes.
Okay,
yes,
Petal
we
and
do.
Stem.
Petal and Stem, that's yes.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
Thank you so much.